Welcome already to another edition of WCW 2006 here in TEW 2020. Of course, you can see by the thumbnail that we're actually doing another edition where I take over another company, as we're taking over Impact, as we do about every 3 months, just to sort of, well, fix the booking here. We'll see in TW9 if we still need to do that, probably just because I know how the game is, but, you know, it is what it is. But regardless, before we do that, we need to go over the mid-year awards. So far, as like the awards that are coming up, we'll have Feud of the Year, which will be up today, as this is posted. So, you know, the 5 feuds of the year, which I've determined over the year so far, is AJ Styles vs. Rob Van Dam, as it was the only world title feud that went over like 2 pay-per-view cycles. You know, sort of lucky in the sense that it went from a Nitro pay-per-view straight to a multi-brand pay-per-view. You know, Eddie was involved, but he wasn't involved enough that he said it was a 3-way pay-per-view. But if you want to include that part, you know, in his vote, that's fine. Then we have the feud that basically went through most of the spring between Anderson, Brother Ray, and The Truth versus The Nest. Of course, this eventually ended with Brother Ray turning on The Truth and Anderson, and The Nest basically winning. Then we have Macias versus Monty Brown, which was just, you know, 2 big guys brawling, and ended with a Sansei death match, which is sort of like the basics of, you know, the basis of the feud here. You know, being part of the feud. Then we have the big one, which is Revolution Fan Church versus Thrillers. So, like, I could have put in Angle versus the Thrillers, Canyon versus the Thrillers, Lena versus the Thrillers, but really this is just, like, you know, old school, like, you know, WCW NWA style, you know, all the baby faces versus the big bad heel group. And then we have Trish Sky versus Captivation. And I sort of like back ended this because really Penny Grable was not part of Captivation, which eventually became part of Captivation. So in the beginning of the year, of course, Trish Sky feuded with Lizzie Dumas in the Captivation until the big steel cage match. And then eventually there was the feud again as she went for the tag titles. But then, you know, Penny Grable got involved and she eventually went with Captivation, and now she's back in a feud with them. So then after that, on Wednesday, we'll have the Show of the Year, which is basically, you know, just to go over those 4 shows. Super Brawl, of course, had Brother Ray versus Eddie Guerrero in a really big match. Goldberg versus Alex Wright. Nikki Colt versus Trish Sky versus Lizzie Dumas in a big triple threat match. Booker and Shelton versus NKO. And AJ Styles versus Jeff Jarrett in a big world title match, along with the sort of what I, you know, called the wild card match of RVD, O'Haire, and Palumbo versus Jindrak, Kendrick, and Macias, which helped set up O'Haire's heel turn. And then we had Sacrifice, which had Brother Ray versus Eddie Guerrero in the Chicago Death Match, or the Mexican Death Match, you know, and then Canderson versus Tank Tolan in the strap match. Trish Sky versus Lizzie Dumas in a steel cage match. Booker and Shelton versus Jarrett and Divine, and then AJ Styles versus Alex Wright in the main event. You know, then we had Wrestle War, which, of course, as noted, was AJ Styles versus Rob Van Dam. Also had Nikki Colt versus Alyssa Alexander, where Alexander won the title. Had Angle versus Palumbo. Evans versus Sharp. Macias versus Monty Brown in their first match. Kane versus O'Haire, which was O'Haire's hero turn. Hardy versus Legendary. And Macias and Yoakim versus Ali Danger. You had Slammiversary, which was a big show. You know, obviously they're all big shows. But, you know, that included, Anderson, Blair, and Truth versus Ness, where we had the Brother Ray turn. Amway versus Southern Syndicate, Macias versus Monty, and then in the Sansei Death Match, LA versus Gil Kim in their blow off, Alexander versus Nikki Colt, Aerial Assault 2, involving Booker and Shelton, Ray Inside Out, Nick Keo, and Kim and Helms, and of course AJLs versus RVD and Eddie in a 3-way dance elimination match, and Great American Bash, which you know just happened here, so just look back at that card. So, you know, just vote for that. Outside of that, you know, next thing up on Friday will be the match of the mid-year. Which isn't just going to be the 5 best matches, like, for your ratings. I'm going to account for, like, what matches, you know, happened. And so then after that, next week will be Face of the Year, Heel of the Year, and Stable of the Year. Then I'll have 3 last awards will be a little more fun. For the last bit, you know, he's not push enough, the Wrestle Crap, and, like, the Newcomer of the Mid-Year. But that's it. So let's get going to the Impact side of things. All right. So, a little focus, you know, what I do is I take over Impact every 3 months, you know, as far as the background for people who don't remember, is basically, this is Hogan as the owner, Paul Levesque as the booker, after, like, what happens every single mid-2000s game, Triple H cheated on Stephanie, so he got kicked out, basically. I sort of, like, forced that along just for like, make a story, and now he's the booker here. Not storyline, sorry, that's the wrong thing. Show history, just story of what happened, like, the past couple of months since I last booked it. So Lockdown was a show we booked, which had the debut of, so just to go over that card, we had Adam Ortiz defeated Nick Nemeth. Adam Ortiz, I think, is now in the WF. Sofia Velocez defeats Cindy Rogers. Jay Lethal defeated Quiet Storm and Frankie Kazarian in a triple threat match. And Nigel Munsters defeated the Dancing Fools. Unfortunately, then the game booked the Dancing Fools won the titles. Alex Shelley defeated Tony Kazuda in his debut. Hellraiser defeated Bruce Beefcake in squash. Claudia Souls retained the Divas title. Christopher Nowinski and Apollo defeating Red and Jesus Kilda retained the Impact Tag titles. Perry Saturn defeated Lex Luger in Perry Saturn's debut. We had Paul Levesque defeat Marcus Middleton in a cage match because it's lockdown. Then we had Hulk Hogan defeat David Flair in a cage match. Then we had Hogan-Levesque standoff. And then I hope the game would not book Hogan-Levesque for the next couple months. But alas, they did. But anyway, just go over what the game booked. Then we had Levesque and Hogan getting an argument. Cindy Rogers defeated Trini McRae by DQ. That's the future Naomi. She's a rookie. Sofia Lopez and Candice Michelle then defeated Trinity and CJ Lane. Claudia De Souls defeated Serena Dim and Fede Abuchi in a triple threat match to retain the title. The Hulkamaze of Shiva and Jesus Seals Jr. defeated O'Connor and Sampson and Roadkill and Sick Boy. And then the Dancing Fools won the tag titles. Bagwell, Saturn, and Kazina defeated Shelley and Matthias Monsters in a 6-man. Marcus Miltech defeated Jason Vex, aka Jason Cross, aka William Jason Massengale. And then we had Hogan defeat Levesque, Ortiz, and Hellraiser in a 4-way tables match to retain the world title. Then last month at Victory Road, we had Serenity Dave defeat Candice Michelle to become the #1 contender. Cindy Rogers defeat Trinity McRae. Sofia Velocruz and Fabi Apache defeat Trinity CJ Lane by DQ. This is the ECW Trinity the ECW / TNA Trinity. Then we had Tony Zena, Adam Ortiz, and Perry Saturn defeat Al Snow, Condor, and Sampson in Al Snow's debut. Then we Dancing Fools retained the titles over Apollo and David Flair. Then Mike Militech and defeat Shelley to retain the X title. And in the main event, we had the Indie All-Star team of Todd Sexton and Jason Vex defeat Bagwell and Funaki in his debut. And then Hulk Hogan defeat Paul Levesque to retain his Impact Championship. So here we are on the road for Slammiversary 1. So let's get rolling with the show. We started out in the pre-show with Giant Singh defeating Shiver in 6 minutes with the brain chop. This gets a 35. Shiver gets a 41. Giant Singh gets a 19. We'll see if that helped him out. Then before the show, we had the Impact girls, including Maria Shikalis, Christy Hemme, Candice Michelle, and Trina McRae to dance before the show. It got a 20. And then we have our opening of the show, which, opens, with your typical beginning. And then the music of the Architects as Paul Levesque comes out, along with Apollo, Christopher Nowinski, Frankie Zarin, and Deborah. And, Levesque comes down to, Tony Green and says, "Last month at Victory Road, my moment was stolen from me. You see, at Victory Road, I was supposed to walk out as Impact Champion. My moment, my destiny, the night where I would lay the foundation for a new era in this industry, the night where this business would finally be dragged kicking and screaming into the future, but instead, David Flair happened." Yeah, David Flair, the so-called heir to one of the most legendary names of the business. Let me make something crystal clear. David Flair is not and never was an heir to anything. Flair was nothing more than a charity case, a pitiful excuse for a wrestler who thought just because his daddy was a nature boy, there was some title entitled to success in his business. See, Flair was never meant to be part of my vision. He was meant to be went to the Architects, but I let him in. I gave him an opportunity, a chance to prove that he got on his own. But not only did he fail against Hulk Hogan a couple months ago, he failed to win back the tag titles. And last month, he was supposed to help me win the championship, and he failed again. But at Victory Road, Flair, for the last time, you showed me exactly who you are. A talentless hack who couldn't even lace his father boots, much less somebody as great as mine. And now, where's Flair? Up north, crawling on his hands and knees, begging for scraps from the likes of old Vinnie Mac. Let me tell you something. You can lie and pretend all you want. You can try to act like you're next in line to carry on family's legacy, but the truth is, you're nothing more than the untalented son of a washed-up old man who retired years ago. David Flair couldn't get the job done at Victory Road, but that's okay, because tonight, I will. Tonight, the Impact Board of Directors has granted me a rematch, and tonight, Hulkamania dies. You can cheer all you want for that relic of a bygone era. Make no mistake, tonight, Hogan will be put out of his misery. Tonight, I will lay the foundation for the future of this business, with men like Apollo, Christopher Nowinski, and Frankie Zarian, and will be built on the shattered remains of Hogan's broken body. And it's not just about me tonight. No, you see, tonight, a new heir will be crowned. An heir with actual talent. A heir who doesn't need to retide on the coattails of a famous name to make an impact. Nowinski and Apollo, two of the finest athletes in this industry, will win back the tag team championships. And tonight, we will send our place at the top of this business where we belonged. But let's get back to the matter in hand. Hogan, you overstayed your welcome for far too long. You cling to the spotlight, refusing to step aside. You've had your time, you've had your glory. It's time to face reality. There's no place left for you in this business. I'm not beating Hulk Hogan, I'm ending Hulk Hogan. Hulkamania is on life support. Tonight, I'm pulling the plug. And when I do, there will be no more excuses. After that, I will be the one standing tall with the Impact Championship. I'll be the one leading this business into the future. I'll be the one who redefine what it means to be the champion. When the dust settles, there will be no Hulkamania. There will be no more Hogan. There will only be the architects and the future. And then cue. Where we can get Jimmy Hart to right up. And out comes Hulk Hogan to a big pop. And, you know, Hogan comes to Mike says, "Let me tell you something, brother. Paul Levesque, you can run your mouth all you want, dude. But there's one thing you're forgetting, brother. You're supposed to be in the ring tonight with the whole and only Hulk Hogan, Jack. The Hulkamania's been running wild for decades. I'm not to stop for a guy like you, brother. You might think you're the future of business. Let me tell you something. Before you can build those foundations, you gotta tear down those pillars. And brother, those pillars, they got names like Hulk Hogan, dude. Last month on Victory Road, you tried to steal a spotlight, brother. Now it's time for Hulkamania to shine brighter than ever. Everybody's gotta know there's only one true icon in the business, and his name is Hulk Hogan. I'm going to take you to her tonight, Levesque. Back up my main man. I am main Hulkamania, X Division champion, Mark Smeltech, brother. He's going to walk down the aisle, and if in the X Division title, prove that he's got the second biggest arms. And then back wrestling, it's yours truly, dude. Whether it's Alex Shelley, Jason Frox, or that mystery opponent, Smeltech is going to take them all up, brother. Because that's what Hulkamaniacs do. We don't run, we don't hide, we don't back down from any challenge, brother. Now you can bring your architects, you can bring Apollo, Nowinski, Kazarian, or anybody else. But tonight, it's going to be just you and me. The only thing left thing after that match is going to be Hulkamania. And, you know, Levesque sort of like sneers down and says, "You know what, Hogan? I expect nothing else from you. The same tactics, phrases, the same promises, the same delusions. Let me think perfectly clear. All the people are still living in the past. Tonight is about nostalgia. Tonight is about your glory days, Hogan. Tonight is not about when you slammed Andre the Giant, or when you created the NWO, or whatever else. Tonight is about me. The only name these people should be chanting is Paul Levesque. I waited long enough. This is about respect. This is about tradition. It's about one thing, power. And when I'm finished with you, the power will be mine. You're stepping in my ring tonight. I'm going to make sure you never step foot in the grid. Bring all the Hulkamaniacs we want. Go call up Shaq. Go call up Mr. T. Bring every washed up handsman you can. Hell, bring them all, because it doesn't matter. All that matters is tonight, I finished what I started when I showed up here at the start of the year. When it's over, you'll just be another old man who couldn't keep up with the future." And Hogan says, "You know, keep talking, brother. You keep talking all night long. Because when the bell rings, you'll find out real quick the future's written. Guys like you, you're my ones who paved the way, brother. Hulkamania isn't going anywhere, Jack." So there we go. 81, because, hey, both of you guys are really good at the promo thing. The wrestling thing, well, about that. We go to the ring for our opening 6-man X Division match, as we have Amazing Red, Frankie Kazarian, Alexander Anderson, who's a regen, who's a decent wrestler, Nick Nemeth, and Mike Anderson, who's a so-called indie guy at the time, and Jay Lethal, who has Miss Jackson as his manager, aka the former Miss Jones. And Jay Lethal gets the win here, pinning Atkinson. Atkinson gets a 12, Amazing Red gets a 54, Kazarian gets a 45, Lethal gets a 48, Nemeth gets a 49, Henderson gets a 42. And post-match, Jay Lethal celebrates with Miss Jackson, which gets a 29. Then we have a fun little angle here, as basically Luger and Hellraiser argue backstage. Hellraiser's, Luger is doing we're in the gym at the arena, and Hellraiser basically says, you can pump all the iron you want, but look at what you've done since you got here. You lost the Impact Championship, Perry Saturn beat you, and you haven't been able to do anything of worth in months. Luger's ready to fight and says, "Come out here later tonight, here at Slammiversary, and I'll show you what happens when I get you in the rack." So there we go. Then we have our Fatal 4-way Divas match here as Sophie Velasquez, the regen with really good technical and sex appeal and star quality skills, defeats Fabi Apache, the debuting Tally Madison, I believe, or maybe not. Yeah. And Cindy Rogers, when Velasquez pins Rogers with a slingshot double knee, this gets a 40, Velasquez gets a 24, Fabi Apache gets a 35, Madison gets a 26, and Cindy Rogers gets a 44. And post-match, Velasquez gets a 29 celebrating. There we go. Solid little match. Then we have Bruce P. Faith trying to flirt with Manaja. I forgot her actual name. And Manaja basically says, "Come out to the ring tonight, and I'll show you a new monster adding to my stable." 46. Then we have our triple threat tag team match as Manaja's monsters of Ian Harrison and Heinrich get the win here over Albright and Sparrow and Alcondor and Sampson. This gets a 37, Sparrow gets a 40, Albright gets a 42, Sampson gets a 29, Quandor gets a 44, Heinrich gets a 20, and Harrison gets a 29. And post-match, they stand tall to a 42. Then after that, we have a taped earlier this week as Carson Sin, aka Reno, aka the former WCW Tag Team Champion with Cash, here at the Silver City Rollers, and who left the company a few months ago, signed his WCW contract and is basically like confronted by Perry Saturn, saying, he wants somebody in the ring and, somebody like you, Carson Sin, because, he used to be Reno, but Carson City, Sin, Las Vegas. Look, it's an Impact name, okay? What can you do here? So get in the ring tonight and I'll show you, who's the real tough guy. Sin basically agrees and the match is signed up for later tonight. This gets a 60. Unfortunately, his pit boss got a lot poor gimmick, but hey, it's a large boost to charisma and angle, so there we go. Then we have Todd Sexton, cutting a not great promo, calling out Buff Bagwell. It's like, Sexton saying, he's been fighting in front of small crowds for years, and now he's here at Impact Wrestling to make a statement, and that's to get rid of the old, washed-up gigolos like Buff Bagwell, and how let real wrestling stand tall. Buff Bagwell comes out, does his Buff Bagwell stuff, and we have a match. This gets a 50. The match itself gets a 58. Okay, not bad. Sexton is actually decently over, especially in the Southeast, because he's been in the NWA Wildside forever. So Sexton gets Bagwell with a, cheap pin, using the ropes to get the pin because of the heel, 58. Bagwell gets a 41. Sexton gets a 58. Then Sexton celebrates to a 48, because, not a lot of charisma there, unfortunately. Then we have, Bruce PK coming out, then Majai coming out, and she introduces Reeves, a.k.a. Ryan Reeves, a.k.a. Ryback. And then Reeves kills Bruce Beefcake in 4 minutes. This gets a 25. Reeves gets a 14. Bruce Beefcake gets a 43. And post-match, Reeves wrecks Beefcake a little more, which gets a 29. Then we have Al Snow talking about old school, saying these little high flyers that are in this division match don't know the fundamentals of wrestling, and he's here to teach wrestling to any young punk and backstage who wants a real lesson in professional wrestling. Then Funaki's music hit, and he says, says he's not a young kid, but he sees the future of the business in guys like Jason Vex, Amazing Red, and and others. So he's happy to get in that ring and show that the future is bright. 45, not bad. And then we have the actual match, which goes back and forth, and might be the best match of the night. Well, okay, we have a good X Division title match, so maybe not. Regardless, back and forth match, and eventually Lash LaRue, who has been, of course, was a WCW jobber for us forever, but whose contract recently ran out, comes out, distracts Al Snow. Funaki gets the roll-up and hits his Fisherman Buster for the pin. As this gets a 61, Funaki gets a 62, Snow gets a 54, and post-match, Funaki and Lash LaRue leave together to a 43. Then we have the Impact Divas title match, as Serena Deeb gets the win over Claudia Solis, using some cheating to win. It says fast roll, but she uses a title belt or something. And the winner and new Impact Divas champion is Serena Deeb. She gets a 32. Still Solis gets a 35 overall. And post-match, Deeb celebrates with the title. So, title change here. And then we have, basically backstage later. We have, Funaki's like, ha, CAJUN man, he's here today. Funaki was almost done for. Al Snow, he's tough. But together we showed him Funaki is unstoppable. And Lash was like, I reckon I just need to backstage any longer. Getting worked over by Snow. Man's been acting like he's a gatekeeper around here. Talking down to you new fellas like he owns the place. So I figured why not give old Funaki a little help in hand. Lash and Funaki's like, Lash, you and me, what do you think about teaming up? Full time, I was thinking, Funaki's got the speed. Lash has the power. And together we could be CAJUN Sushi. CAJUN Sushi? Well, partner, I gotta admit, it's gotta ring today. Nobody else are gonna mix Louisiana with Japanese like we can for that, sure. If Funaki is, yes, CAJUN Sushi, the ultimate tag team, Japanese spice, CAJUN heat, will take over Impact Wrestling. And Lash is like, well, shoot, let's do it. We're going to need more than sushi rolls and crawfish to get over the folk. We'll take on the best that Impact has to offer and show them what this new flavor is all about. Yes, this is dumb. Yes, this is, but it would be the thing that people would have nostalgia for 10 years later. Now we have Perry Saturn taking on Carson Sin, and Carson Sin eventually gets the win over Perry Saturn in a bit of a brawl after about 9 minutes with the roll of the dice. 60, so really solid match. Carson Sin gets a 62. Perry Saturn gets a 50. Big win here. And then post-match, he continues the beatdown as this gets a 52. And Lex Luger and Hellraiser come out for their match, but they just start fighting, fight up to the back. And the match itself never happens, which gets a 43. But near the end, Hellraiser gets the advantage, and it's a massive chokeslam on Luger to leave him laying as he walks away and sort of spits on Luger, or at least close to Luger, as the segment ends. Then we have our tag team title match, which was not great, which I don't expect. So a bit of backstage heat is Ernest. I was eventually going to put the Dancing Fools over here, But the thing is, Norman Smiley, or yeah, Ernest Miller was was backstage talking crap about Hulk Hogan. And look, just in game for realism, Ernest, you can't win your match after that. I'm sorry, buddy, you just can't. So Paulo pins Ernest Miller here, completely clean, 10 minutes. Paulo Nowinski win back the tag team titles. This gets a 41. Disco gets a 40. Miller gets a 34. Paulo gets a 32. Nowinski gets a 31. And post match, the new tag team belts celebrate to a 48. Then we have, basically all three competitors so far in the ring: Militech, Jason Vex, and Alex Shelley. And then, our announcer, Mario Herring, puts over Who Could It Be? And then some, off-the-memory music hits, and out comes Jerry Lynn to a decent pop as the announcers put over, his past, including being a multi-high and light heavyweight champion and fighting the title with the European Championship at WrestleMania, and, being all over the independent scene, not mentioning his kind of run in WCW, but he's here. He gets a 34 because he's Jerry Lynn, so he's no good at promos. But then we have a fun little four corners, four-way tag match, and Jerry Lynn gets the win over Jason Vex to win the Impact X title. But the interesting thing here is basically it's a wild ending, and Militech basically plays the base here as he's like obviously a big guy, but he's like he actually has decent stats as far as like brawling, so like he's not terrible in ring as you can see with his 62. But eventually it's like Jerry Lynn and Vex in the middle of the ring. Looks like we're going to the finish. Militech comes in to make the save after Lynn hits the Cradle Pile Driver, but Shelley stops him from making the save, and that allows Lynn to get the win over Vex and win the X title in his first night in the company. This gets a 53, Militech gets a 62, Vex gets a 69, Shelley gets a 60, Lynn gets a 46. And post-match, Lynn celebrates for the title to a 32. Then we have Levesque's entrance, which gets a 71. We have Hogan's entrance, which gets a 73. And we have the match itself. Look, folks, I'm not going to say this was a great match here. I mean, it wasn't bad. Okay, this is absolutely... I mean, like, this is just basically true. Hulk Hogan and Paul Levesque did not seem to click. Yes, that would totally what happened here. But so they still got a 69, which isn't bad. But anyway, what happens here is basically, Levesque, I mean, this is the match you could probably write up in your sleep. But in the end, there's a ref bump. And on the outside, Hulk Hogan, Hulk Hogan has, like, hit the big boot, is playing to the crowd, when out of nowhere, Alex Shelley comes through the crowd, absolutely wallops Hulk Hogan across the back multiple times with the chair, gets out of the ring as the ref recovers. Levesque picks him up, boom, pedigree, rolls him over. 1, 2, 3. Paul Levesque is your Impact World Champion. 69. Hogan gets a 41. Levesque gets an 82. Hogan was exhausted with a 10-minute match. Yikes. Again, like they didn't click. Hogan was off his game. Oh, wow. Hogan's off his game in a match where he has to lose. I'm shocked, folks. Absolutely shocked. And then post-match. Yes, I know, Hector, okay? And then, Levesque, the announcers basically put over, okay, this was all Paul Levesque's plan. He has brought Alex Shelley into his heir. Shelley stopped Hulkamania member Mark Spiltek from winning the keeping his X championship, and now he comes out and he is the heir. Shelley hands over Levesque the title, and the entirety of the Outcasts come out and they hold their titles. Levesque with the Impact Championship, Apollo with the Nowinski with the Tag Championships, and a big nose here. This gets a 61, and overall the show itself gets a 69. So we will give, okay, since he lost without bitching, thanks, Marcus. Honestly, Carson, good job on your first day. And let's see here. What was the other match that was better than I thought it was going to be? Hold on, let's see here. Who else should I give it to? Honestly, Al Snow. No, Funaki. Funaki, there we go. So for things to load up here. So yeah, a big night here as, good show for Impact. I honestly don't remember if that was like better than the AI shows, but then again, they have the advantage of not actually having to book well. I mean, come on, folks. Come on. All right, we'll just see here what we look at. And yeah, we'll just go over like a little bit as far as like overness changes, like see who's over or not. We'll just kill some time, honestly. I mean, not totally, but kind of. Gotta love when this game takes forever to load up. Loading, loading, doopity-doo. How long does this game take to go? Alright, there we go. Okay, yeah. I mean, you guys know I'm playing it. Alright. So, male-wise, Hector Guerrero thinks, I mean, she's a regen, she's like 23, and she's here because she's mostly hot. So, yeah. And yeah, David Flair's contract was at first I didn't realize he had already debuted in WWE, so I was going to bring him in and have him like lose again, and then have basically like Triple H kill him. But you know, it is what it is. So let's see here. So yeah, just like see here, show history. That was by far the best show. Cool. Yay, I can book well. Was that the best match? Okay. So, Levesque versus Militech was the best. The tag team match was the best. This was third. Then a bunch of Militech matches. Funaki Snow was actually second. This was Sin Saturn. Okay, so, stable-wise, just so I remember to do this. Modify stable. Alex Shelley, you are now the heir. And this makes more sense than David Flair ever did. We are also going to add in the hottest tag team in professional wrestling today. And yes, they're going to be a unit. Lashley LaRue, Shuichi Funaki, CAJUN Sushi, and yes, Sushi Roll. This is very dumb, but I love it. Anyway, creative, let's just see here. Yeah, Levesque Hogan, Curtin Sid is actually interesting. I would not be surprised if the game eventually gave him the Impact title. Next big things, nobody, hot prospects, Nemeth, LaRue, Lethal, Deeb, Reeves, who you expect, Hogan. Like, Beck was actually a better talker than I thought. Funaki's actually not bad either, which is funny. Who's hot? I mean, is it who you expect? Who's not? Again, who do you expect? Yeah, I mean, people have morale issues. People who have morale issues, I don't give a damn about. So title-wise, just, you know, ex-champion, Marcus Miltech held the title since March. So not a bad reign for him. Vex had it before him. Then the weird, wild beginning of this title was held by Marty Jannetty for a few months. World Tag titles are back on Nowinski and Paulo, who of course were handed the titles, who then lost the titles, who then won back the titles. Your second Divas champion is Serena Dallas over Talia DeSells, who has held the title since February, and your Impact World Champion is Paul Levesque, finishing the, you know, being the fourth man after Bigelow, Luger, and Hogan. If we look at our roster, honestly, I'm just going to go down people who I care about. Let's see here. Okay. Carson Sid. Okay. Yeah, Sin's like, I think, probably one of the most over guys in the company. Nowinski. Nowinski, okay. Yeah, he actually got a decent bump up for winning the tag titles again. Claudia DeSalas, since she's been on here, has, yeah, he's actually kind of meh. Let's see here. Anybody else of note? Trying to think, did you get any boost in overness, at least in the Southeast, from beating? Okay, so you got a decent boost from beating Shiver. Hulk Hogan, how are you? Your thing is Hogan, like, I think 65 is the minimum you can drop to when you're, like, I think, like a legend or whatever it is. So, yeah, we can, I mean, you know, I mean, this is actually, I think, right for Hulk Hogan in 2006, because even though he's still over, he doesn't actually affect business anymore. Let's see here. Jason Vix. Vex, okay, loses a couple points, it looks like, here for losing to Lynn. Let's see here. Jerry Lynn. Yeah, Lynn's less popular than I thought, but it's fine to put him over. This will maybe help him out after I drop him out near the end. Let's see here. Old Paul. Yeah, it's just hilarious Levesque is over. I mean, this is just, like, this isn't quite CM Punk levels of dropping the ball, but kind of. Funaki's interestingly over. Sofia Velquez is getting there. And I think that's about it of people who I really care about. Marcus Miltech, yeah. Miltech is getting pretty over, I think. Oops. Popularity, not match history. Yeah. Decently over. Again, I could have brought him on, but he hasn't, he hadn't, quite popped to a good enough worker I needed him on TV. And maybe he'll get over enough on the indies that I bring him up, even though he's a regen. But yeah, that's it. Again, I always enjoy doing this just as a sort of check-in and a way to book I don't say a worse product, but a more interesting product than like, purely, national company WCW can be at times. But yeah, we'll see how the game reacts to this. Again, next up, in theory, let's see, because we did lockdown, so next up would be Rebellion, but I'm going to see how the game deals with stuff. Hopefully, they actually book decently. I might book Turning Point instead. It just depends. But yeah, that's it for now. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and give it a like. Comment below what you're liking and not liking. And of course, subscribe to the channel for plenty of TEW 2020 content, at least for the next couple weeks, until we move over to TEW 9 for this WCW 2006 series. Well, I'll get back on track with TEW 9 this week with a Pittsburgh Steel Wrestling video. And, of course, vote in the mid-year awards. But that's all for now. Talk later, and adios. Have a good one.